Hey buddy, how you been? It's been a while. Well, I figured I thought this video was gonna be like a softball video, you know? I thought I was gonna watch She-Hulk, and I expected it would be okay. It's got good reviews. I'm looking over on Rotten Tomatoes where it's got a 94. I think there's a bunch of positive reviews from critics. I'm like, it's probably good. I like the general idea of a lawyer show set in the Hulk in the Marvel universe. Sorry, I've always loved things like Harvey Birdman and funny court. I can't even think straight. I hated this show. I hated this show. I I didn't finish the first episode. I'm gonna try and go back and finish the first episode, but I was just watching it. I'm like, I'm I'm like, why do you do this? Why do you have all these critics who a lot of the times they go overboard and they say, "Oh, everything from Disney is woke, feminist, trash garbage," which is usually not true. But sometimes there are things that go too far. Captain Marvel was a thing where I went, this is a little too much girl power. Maybe, I don't know. Do women like this? I like to think that women would think this kind of thing is pandering, but me as a male, as a man, as far as I don't know, genders keep changing every day, but in this current time, I'm a man, and I want to watch a show that's just fun and funny and doesn't get into this. I don't know how to put it. It feels like feminist writing, and it's not interesting feminist writing. That's the problem. Is that I think it's fine to talk about the issues that women face and whatever else, but it has to come up naturally. You can't just jam it in. And in the first episode, I didn't even finish half the episode, and there's just multiple instances of this rah-rah feminism, men are bad nonsense writing. And I was like, it's I guess that's what I want to explain, is that I'm fine with that kind of writing, but not when it's as lazy as She-Hulk is. Now, I grabbed a couple screenshots from the show, because I obviously can't show the show because I'm going to get in trouble. But the show's first, this was the first indication that we were maybe in trouble. And I was still willing to forgive it. I'm like, well, maybe this is just a slight misstep, and the rest of the episode will be fine. But it starts off that she's in a car accident. I think we've all seen the famous trailer. She crashes the car. Some of Hulk's blood, or Bruce Banner's blood, spills onto her open wound, and that's going to give her Hulk powers. I had a couple questions about that. I'm like, well, if that's all it takes to turn into a Hulk, that raises a lot of questions. Just a little bit of Bruce Banner's blood. They try to explain, well, no, you have to also have Banner genetics or something, whatever. Regardless, she wakes up, stumbles over to a bar. I don't know why she doesn't go, hey, can I borrow someone's cell phone? I've just been in a car accident. Instead, she goes to the bathroom where a bunch of women, if not, I don't know if they were supposed to be drag queens or what, but basically dress her up and clean her up because she's all covered in blood and crap. And she ends up outside the bar. Excuse me. And basically there's a bunch of guys, and they see her, and they kind of start catcalling her. They're like, hey, who are you? Where you going? You know, what's your name, baby? How you doing? And let's be clear, you can say that's, I don't know. Is that really the scummiest behavior? Isn't that the reason people go to bars? Is a lot of people go to like meet people, hook up, whatever else. So if you're at a bar, dressed up as she's a semi-attractive lady, it's very possible a couple guys might go, hey, what's your name? What are you doing tonight? What's going on? They treat it as, obviously this is the worst possible thing that could ever happen at a bar. None of these guys were like physically aggressive towards her. None of them were like, hey, why don't you, put on a smile or I'll pop you one. They're basically just catcalling her. And then, of course, she turns into the Hulk and assumedly, it cuts to black, but assumedly beats the crap out of all of them. And I went, well, this is just the laziest thing ever. Because, we've already seen this scene. And I can already think of two other superhero movies that had that exact scene. Again, remember Captain Marvel? It was kind of the same thing where this biker guy comes up to her and he's like, hey, what are you doing? What's up, baby? And she, steals his keys and beats the crap. Okay, so we already did that. And then also in Wonder Woman 1984, if we remember Kristen Wiig playing Cheetah, you know, eventually she gets powers and confronts the guy who catcalled her. Is every female superhero character gonna have to confront a catcaller now? Is that like a necessary part of the the superheroine origin story? But I said, okay, well that's lazy writing. Maybe we'll talk about that. That we've seen this a million times before. Oh, wouldn't it be cool if you had superpowers and if men catcall you, you can just beat the crap out of them? Weird power fantasy, women. I don't know why that's what's in your head. But you know, again, I'm not a woman. I don't know. Maybe being catcalled at a bar is the worst thing that ever happened to anybody. But then, like, you already did it. You got your feminist scene in. You got your ooh rah beats up the catcallers moment. I'm assuming we can then move on and like have a fun and interesting show. I was a little perturbed when they're doing like this montage of her learning her Hulk powers, and she keeps outperforming Bruce Banner Hulk. And I kept saying, you know, the funny thing to do would be to portray her as an idiot, as not understanding her powers, as being weak and shitty, showing her like, haha, look, I'm better at pounding the ground at you. I'm better than jumping. At one point, you know, Hulk grunts and she makes fun of his grunts. She's like, oh, man, I'm a big, strong man, you know, making fun of his manly grunts. I was like, no, it would be funnier to treat her as an idiot. But no, she's the most strong and capable and powerful character. And then we get this where basically the Hulk is like, well, you have to learn to control your anger, because if you don't, you know, something bad could happen. Famously, I lost control and I beat up half a city, whatever else. She goes, well, I already know how to control my anger because I'm a woman. And if I don't control my anger, I'll get called emotional or difficult, or might just literally get murdered. Again, referencing the idea that women in any situation around men are just eternal victims of men and the patriarchy and male on woman violence, and that we force women to stay in their lane, and we come down on them, and that if they don't hold back their true selves and their emotions, then they get killed. Look, I'm sure some women feel this way. I'm sure some women feel that in a male-dominated society that they are, I don't know, constantly on. I don't see the numbers for this murder thing. Yes, some guys occasionally go crazy and murder women, but the odds of it happening, you're gonna have to show me some statistics that show that every woman is constantly on edge of being randomly murdered on the street. But this was the point where I went, well, okay. I mean, this is, I'm not having fun. I don't like this character now, because this character is not like an interesting, fun lady who's coming to terms with her powers. She's the same kind of whiny, annoying, I'm not gonna, should I say it? She's a bitch. she's a whiny, annoying bitch who's got all these ideas in her head about how men are bad and holding back women. And yes, there's some of that, but like, as a guy, why do I want to watch a show that tells me that I suck, that my gender sucks, that women live in fear of being murdered by me? How is that fun? I always say there is room in storytelling for these kind of themes. We can talk about this stuff, but why do you want to put it in the Hulk thing? Or if you're gonna do it, why don't you do it in a way that it's not in the pilot as like the central, well, I already know how to control my anger because I'm a woman, and if I don't control my anger, you men will murder me. You could save something like that and make a far more interesting point. Honestly, it's lazy to me. It feels like lazy writing. It feels like these are tropes. Again, I've seen this in Captain Marvel, Wonder Woman, every female superhero talking about how, well, when a man does it, it's fine, but when a woman does it, blah, blah, blah. I know, it's exhausting. I don't know. Guys, I'm going to, at some point, try to pick up. I hope this becomes like a fun court show. But I frankly, I just noped out of the pilot. I was like, I don't have time for this. I don't need the lecture. I don't need Hollywood to remind me, oh, you know, the real problem is the glass ceiling for women and the pay gap. It's boring to me, frankly. I don't find it interesting. I don't think it makes for good stories. It doesn't feel natural. It feels preachy. She's talking to her cousin, Bruce, giving him this little lecture, and I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Tell me. I feel bad Or I feel like, am I missing something? Am I like just hyper aware about this stuff? I just feel I'm like, I've seen this. I've heard this. I don't like stories that say and do things I've already seen. Again, beating up a bunch of catcallers. Wow, what a turnaround. Because in the real world, you know, they probably would have raped the shit out of her or whatever the fuck it is. But now, because she's a Hulk, she can beat him up. I've seen it. I get it. I don't need it in every show. Like, just do something new. And I hate that, honestly, all these guys who complain about, you know, woke media and the so-called MCU. Well, they're right. They're right here. They're correct on this account. That was terrible writing. Hopefully the rest of the show is not that bad, but I don't know. I was just turned off by it. I was like, I'll watch this when I feel like a lecture about how bad my gender is. I don't do anything to women. I really don't. Nothing bad, as far as I know. So let me know in the comments. What have I done to you women in my audience? And women do watch this channel sometime, and thank you very much. Let me know. Am I overreacting? You are probably going to tell me. You're going to say, Vito, you should listen to a strong Hulk lady tell you, you know, all about why women are the most oppressed thing that ever lived. Yes, I know you guys have your own unique struggles and whatever else. If I want to hear about that, I'll like watch a documentary or like a serious show. Not what I thought was going to be a fun court show about superheroes. It's just too much. It's too much. Don't forget to subscribe and check out my comic book at superkiller.org. Please sign up for the mailing list. I appreciate you guys. Take care of yourself. I didn't like it. I don't know.